So not that I would wish anything upon you, but if a knock on the head brings such beautiful music, yeah. May there be continuous little taps. Thank you for that. So that's so beautiful. So where to begin? My message each week comes out of the Science of Mind magazine, and this month we're talking about the wholeness. We're talking about, this philosophy, the science of mind. Today's topic is about the spiritual body, and so this allows for us an opportunity to kind of talk about this teaching that we have in the science of mind. And of course, we always refer to our teaching symbol, and it represents the wholeness of all that is. And we have in our teaching this idea of the Holy Trinity, which is about the mind being at the top, and the soul being there in the center, and the body being near this point down here where we individualize. We come into the form. And so I'm thinking about how to bring all of this together, and how to get the message across that here we are in the very presence of that divine spirit, showing up as individualized and unique forms. And I think it's just incredible how this uniqueness shows up, how the diversity continues to represent itself in so many ways that it is extraordinary. And so as I was sitting here reflecting upon, what all of the things that were going on during this week, it has been an incredible and an unusual week. I had the opportunity, as you know, to take last Sunday off and just kind of go out and do whatever it is that I choose to do. And I thought, wouldn't it be fun to go to church? So, and sit out there and see what the response of it is. So I went over to Hemet and surprised Reverend Rhonda at service as she walked up onto the platform. She looked out, she saw me, she was like, "Oh my God," and we had a great talk yesterday. So it's an opportunity, because as a minister you don't always get that opportunity. You're focused, you're assigned, you're being paid to show up at your own center, and so how nice to go to somebody else's center and show up and respond. And they have a beautiful center over there, and as I was kind of reflecting upon it, it was kind of like, and it's almost the same experience that we're having here, whatever you think the experience might be. It's not so undifferent than every other center is going through. And then as I come in this morning and I'm hearing all of the conversation that's going on, it's kind of like, what is it with paper plates? Somebody apparently during the week came in and decided to take all of our paper plates. I was like, really? Paper plates? I mean, it's like, if it was about value, there's so many other things here, and please don't take anything of value. We like our center. We love our center. We want to have things here that we can use. And if you need paper plates, by all means, you can certainly use them. But leave us a note. Remind us so that we can get more. To fill in the place. I don't know. Sometimes things just kind of like boggle my mind. How many here are aware that we had a fire? There was, apparently somebody had been using the shed out back behind the trailer, and so we locked it because it's not a motel. You know, but somebody, you know, apparently thought it was. Well, then, you know, I guess then their choice was to use that space between the shed and the trailer to camp out. And, you know, the thing about camping out with live fires is that, particularly if you're right there in the middle of all of that dry bush, and so, you know, so there was a fire, and the back side of the trailer has been scorched. Fortunately for us, it appears to be just cosmetic damage, and nobody got hurt. The cable to the internet was burned, so we had to get that replaced. So, you know, things going on. I decided to, well, I had to come over and do some business stuff on Friday, and while I was here, I decided to do a little bit more yard work out front. So, you know, we're still working on that. All of these little things that are going on out and around all of our activity, and it's all divine order. It's all part of the wholeness. It's all a part of that divine presence that is represented by the circle. Everything is included in that. You can't separate it out of God. And yet, when we look out into the world and all of the activity that's going on, and we think, you know, so why is God stealing our paper plates, and why is God, you know, starting a fire, or, you know, what is all of this chaos that's going on? So I went to my resource where I always go to, Ernest Holmes, and he's got a number of books out there, and the one that I chose this week, because it also in the Science of Mind magazine, the reading that is today comes out of this book, How to Use the Science of Mind, by Ernest Holmes. How to Use the Science of Mind. And I thought, that I need to know that. And you would think after 30 years of practicing and learning and studying and teaching this philosophy that I would have gotten it all down. But, you know, every day I wake up and there's something new to learn. There's something new to be reminded of. There's something new to be revealed, and I can easily tap back into that source by going to some reference, as I use in this book, How to Use the Science of Mind. And the thing that popped out for me was right here, and it says, it is the use of a creative power that man has control over, not the thing itself. We don't have control over the thing. We don't have control over the universe. We don't have control over how this world and how life is going to play itself out. But what we do have is that we can use it, that we can use this power that is available. So isn't that wonderful? It's just like, it's like electricity. You know, it's like we don't really create electricity. It's already there. It's a power that's already there, but we get to use it. And we wonder, it's like, well, how do we use it? You know, how is it that we plug in and turn on and begin to make things happen out of that? Well, it doesn't just come that easily, that it's always just made available to us in an easy way that we don't even have to understand. We do have to understand it. We do have to learn about it. We do have to know how it is that we can use it. And that's what this teaching is about. That's what the Science of Mind philosophy is about. That to the degree and the level at which you can understand it, you can use this power. And it's a power that is universal. It's a power that's available to each and every one of us all of the time. In the reading that Reverend Ann was using this morning, it was like, if you choose to be unhappy, then that power is there and it's available to you, and it can make you the most miserable and unhappy person in the world that you want to be. Because it's your choice. It is simply the way in which we choose to use this power. And we are always at choice. There are some things that we cannot control. We do not control life. Life already is. We don't create life. We show up in life because we are part of that divine presence. I don't know whether we've been in this life before or we will be in this life again. And there's all sorts of reasonings of why it could be or it shouldn't be or maybe it can be or how do we get there. But what I do know is that we are here in this moment, right here, right now, and that power is available for us to use it if we choose to do so consciously. And here's the key word, consciously. Because you are using this power. You are using it all the time. It is your divine nature to use this power in a creative way. The way in which you use it is the choice that you get to make. The reason that there is so much discord, so much harmony, so much chaos going on in the world is because out of our ignorance, and when I say our ignorance, I'm talking about the entire universe, the entire spiritual body that is showing up in manifest form. It is out of our ignorance that is allowing for that to be, because all we need to do is to reveal the truth of who we are in each and every moment. And as we do so, then we will reveal that divine presence that is already here, that divine harmony that is already in play, that divine order that is always in action. But we have been given the freedom to do otherwise. That is the mystery of the universe, the mystery of life, the mystery of the divine presence, is that in and of itself it has said, I am a creative nature, and boom, there it is, life in its full expression, choose. And so we randomly go about playing out this thing of life, kind of choosing and trying and testing and exploring and divining all sorts of things to come out, and it comes out. And this is the way in which it's showing up. That as a collective human consciousness, and I specifically say the human consciousness because I think dogs have already figured this out. But in that place of human consciousness, we get to make all of these choices about how we want to live life, but we haven't thought them out fully and completely. And because so, then we're showing up in a way that sometimes looks like discord and disharmony. And the wonderful thing about that is that then we get to choose again. Again and again and again. Each and every moment is an opportunity for you to reveal a greater truth in life. I know that sometimes life is not fair. I know that sometimes life is not, always about right winning over wrong. I know that sometimes that there is illness and there is dis-ease and there is discomfort. But it's our life. And the way in which we want to react to it, the way in which we want to respond to it, the way in which we want to reveal it is the choice that we get to make. Last night I had a choice. It's that time of the year when I really love it the most, because the temperature seems to be just perfect, particularly in the Palm Springs area. I know it's getting cold over here, but we're still in those 90-degree weathers, But it's an opportunity. It's like we get to open up the windows and the doors, and we get to enjoy the fresh air and all of that that's out there. And yesterday I was enjoying that in my lovely estate that I choose to live in. And I'm relaxing and I'm kind of contemplating, and all of a sudden I hear this kind of unusual noise. And I look out into my backyard and across the fence, and there's an inflatable castle going up. And I'm thinking, isn't that wonderful? It's like, there must be a party going on, So, and then later the mariachi band showed up. Now, I like mariachi music. I didn't realize that so much that they had big tubas. The oompa, 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 So at about 10 o'clock at night, I'm thinking, I'm hoping that this is coming to an end sometime soon, because I had to close all of my doors and my windows and turn on the air, in order to somehow kind of muffle that out as I wanted to get some rest and some sleep. But I thought, this is the diversity, this is the multiplicity, this is the wonderful experience of life that gets to show up. I don't get to always control it, but I do get to choose how I want to respond to it. And so I just settled into my space and into my place. And as gracious as they were, by 10:30 they had completed the party, and I thought, I can live with that. I can enjoy that opportunity to know that they were consciousness enough to know that there's a limit to the time and space that you want to influence the lives of your neighbors, and allow that to be. So this is the message that we get in this teaching of our science of mind. Life is not always going to be the experience that we want it to be. It's not always going to show up in a way that looks like it's fair. It's not always going to show up in a way that it looks like it's whole and perfect and complete, and that we are full of health and vitality, and that we have the wealth and the abundance and the prosperity to just run things the way that we want to do. It's not always going to show up that in our relationships or in our neighbors or in our friends or in the acquaintances that we have, that they agree with everything that we say. Life is not always going to be in that way of perfection in the way that we think it ought to be, because maybe we haven't revealed the wholeness of who we are. If I recognize that everything is God, then I know that everything that is going on is going to return back to that place of the perfection that is the divine. And in the meantime, I get to have the adventure and the experience of life showing up in its many, travels and twists and turns. And some of them I'm not going to agree with. But the truth of it is that that's all going to pass. That's all going to return back into the wholeness and the perfection of who we are. So I can live with that. I can live with the opportunity that's available for me to choose what is the way I want to respond to this thing called life. And this is the message that I want to leave us with today. The conscious use of spiritual power is the finest of arts because it has a deep feeling. It is the greatest of all intellectual perceptions because it is the most penetrating. It is religious in that its whole thought is based on the intimate relationship of the Spirit with everything that is. It is scientific in that it deals with law and order. We should accept this proposition and see what we can do with it. Have we enough conviction to turn from negative conditions and mentally contemplate their opposite? Can we turn from poverty and want to the acceptance of abundance? Can we turn from sickness to a belief in health? Can we turn from unhappiness to happiness? Can we shut out discord long enough? The effective practitioner, and we are all practitioners of this philosophy, the effective practitioner in this science has the will to try, the courage to make the attempt, the faith to believe in him or herself, because we have the confidence in the law of good. The simplicity of this conviction is enhanced when we realize that we have nothing to change outside of ourselves. That we are the spiritual body of the divine presence. We are the one that we have been seeking. We are the truth incarnate into the individualized personality of each and every one of us. I know that I am a part of this divine presence, and I know that you are a part of this divine presence, and I know that each of us, if we wake up each day and we begin with an affirmation and we begin to look for the good that is in life, that if we can just spend enough time to rethink about what are the choices that we are going to make, that no matter what shows up in life, when we see and we know that it is God in experience, then we are going to love our experience and we are going to create a world that truly does work for each and every one of us. We are going to have more health, more wealth, more abundance, more prosperity, more love, more wisdom, and more truth. And I'm willing to do that, and I know that I have the conviction, and I truly invite each and every one of you to accept that as your truth, that you are already a divine child of that infinite intelligence, that power is available to use it. And so I just offer to you that you choose wisely. Namaste.